Yo, it's N60 Sean. We're doing our top 10 most shocking #1 contenders for the WWE Championship, and in at number 10 is Crash Holly. Did you know there was once a time when Crash Holly was getting 2 WWF title shots in the space of 24 hours? The first one being on Sunday Night Heat. Title matches on Sunday Night Heat, that is crazy in itself. But then the next night on Raw, Crash Holly came out and challenged Kurt Angle to a match. Crash Holly even came out with one hand tied behind his back, man. Like, Crash Holly could have grown 2 more arms and come down to the ring like Goro from Mortal Kombat. And I think the outcome would have still been the same. Crash Holly lost that one by tapping out to Kurt Angle's ankle lock. At 9, we've got the Run of the Dudley, Spike Dudley, who was #1 contender for the WWE title when he faced off against Stone Cold Steve Austin in a match which was started because Austin called Spike Dudley's girlfriend Molly a bimbo, and then Spike got all cross and then ripped up Austin's petition that he'd made so he didn't have to face Jericho and Benoit at King of the Ring. Spike Dudley had a few little hope spots in this one, but ultimately Spike Dudley got absolutely destroyed, as one would predict, by the Texas Rattlesnake. At 8, lovely, lovable James Ellsworth, who captured our hearts by taking a massive beating from Braun Strowman, and through just pure fan love, essentially got basically earned a whole year on the roster. This is quite recent, so we pretty much know what happened. He had a match against AJ Styles and got beaten quite quickly in his title match. But I think James Ellsworth, there's a big lesson to be learned from James Ellsworth. He is a dude who literally had no right to be on the WWE roster, and he took a chance that he got given and he ran with it. And I think if we all took a little bit of that into our everyday lives, then we would probably be a lot more successful with ourselves. Well done, James Ellsworth, for showing us the way. At 7, back in 2010, when Sheamus had loads more sticky up hair, and he just, quite shockingly actually, won the WWE title in his first year on the roster. He was doing this thing where he was trying to get out of defending his title at Night of Champions, and try through the way that if he had like a title match on Raw, then he wouldn't have to compete again for another 30 days. So he handpicked his own contender, and that was Zack Ryder, who at that time was not on a good place on the roster. This was before he did his YouTube channel, The True Long Island Ice Story, and all that stuff. Zack Ryder was really sort of rock bottom of the pile, and we pretty much could show that match, recreate it on WWE 2K18 in its entirety. One bro kick, and Zack Ryder was put out of business. But he had a shot for the WWE Championship, which you can't really take away from him. At 6, we've got Kenny from the Spirit Squad. Now, the Spirit Squad were a gang of cheerleaders. Dolph Ziggler used to be one of them. They got brought back quite recently, actually, and there was an episode of Raw where the Spirit Squad were in charge, obviously. So the Spirit Squad gave their sort of leader, Kenny, a WWE title match against John Cena. Now, Kenny, I think at the time was like 19, so if he'd have won that match, he would have been by miles the youngest WWE champion. I think he's one of the second youngest title holders. I think it's between him, Tyler Bate, and Rene Dupree, but Kenny was young. They had him sort of, I think Paul Heyman had him earmarked to be the future of the business, but sadly that is not happened. There's a lot of special referee shenanigans with this one. Vince McMahon put Triple H as the special guest referee in this match. Triple H was still technically a heel at this point, but they were starting to tease that DX reunion with Shawn Michaels. So Triple H started with like a little tease of a face turn, pedigreed Kenny, walked out, and they had this sort of crossover as Shawn Michaels became like the replacement guest referee. Just another one of the hints that DX were getting back together. But obviously Cena beats Kenny from the Spirit Squad, obviously, to retain the WWE Championship. So another shocking #1 contender for the WWE Championship was none other than Eric Bischoff. Now, we've seen like authority figures sort of put themselves in title matches before, but this was like on the main event of a WWE Homecoming show. So on October the 3rd, 2005, Raw returned to the USA Network, and they went with a main event of Eric Bischoff versus John Cena. Interesting choice of match there. Eric Bischoff comes out with Kurt Angle. This is when Kurt Angle and Cena were feuding. There was a lot of shenanigans. Kurt Angle almost knocked himself out with a steel chair with it bouncing off the ropes, but ultimately Bischoff obviously didn't really have much of a chance, as one would guess, and John Cena walks out once again as WWE champion. The next shocking WWE #1 contender was Jerry the King Lawler. Now, Jerry the King Lawler, who, I mean, probably down the line, maybe 20 years ago, wouldn't really have been a shocking #1 contender for the WWE Championship. In fact, to this point, he had never had a WWE title shot. And on his 61st birthday, he goes in a TLC match against The Miz, who was, and this was The Miz's first title defense since winning, cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Randy Orton. So lots of craziness going on here. Also, CM Punk is on commentary for this match, and if Lawler would have won, he would have been the oldest champ by about 7 years, I think, beating McMahon by 7 years, I think. And Lawler, this was a good match, actually. It's a good TLC match. Lawler gets stuck in. There's a lot of, like, takes quite a few tiny little bumps, and Lawler knocks The Miz off the top rope through a table, and then he's there with the ladder, and the crowd are going mad because it's looking like, oh, he might actually win it, he might actually win it. But then Michael Stinking Cole gets involved, drags the King off the ladder, and then there's a second bit when they're just sort of fighting at the top of the ladder, but The Miz ultimately wins, and that's setting up your favourite WrestleMania match and mine, Michael Cole versus Jerry the King Lawler. So next shocking WWE #1 contender. Now this is, I think this is one of my favourite matches of all of these, after sitting through and checking them all out, because Triple H versus Taka Michinoku. So Taka, in his own right, he's a talented dude, but at this stage they sort of positioned Kai and Tai as like this sort of joke little Japanese team. I'm not sure they were doing the kind of weird, like, evil thing. They had this thing where they were just evil, and they'd have like a really ridiculous dubbed over voice, which was done by Bruce Pritchard, in fact, for you. But Triple H had, like, I think, an open challenge for the WWE Championship, and then Kai and Tai come out. Triple H is all like smiles, and then they come flanked by the APA, Bradshaw and Farouk, and this match is full of shenanigans. Earl Hebner is at his sassiest. He's shoving Shane McMahon. Shane's getting chased away by the APA. Triple H and Hebner are getting into a shoving match. Then there's also a big old thing where Funaki pushes Triple H into the APA, so then they batter him, and Triple H takes a clothesline from hell, and then a drop kick from Funaki, then a moonsault from Tucker, and then it's literally like a 2.9999 count. And I mean, obviously, ultimately, Taka Michinoku did not go on to win the WWE Championship, but this is a cool match, guys. Definitely, I could go and try and fish that out on the WWE Network. So, our number 2 of our top 10 WWE shocking #1 contenders is the man they call Gilberg. So this was all set up because Shano essentially said that Triple H would be taking on a bold SOB. So it was sort of hinted that it would be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but Shane McMahon was doing this weird sort of trust me thing with Triple H, and so Triple H is in the ring, and then the guy who he's facing is the man they call Gilberg. Gilberg was this dude called Dwayne Gill, who they had as like a take the mick out of Goldberg, who was obviously the biggest thing in WCW at the time. Most shocking thing I think about this match is that Gilberg hits the spear. He hits the spear on Triple H and then almost gets him up for a jackhammer, but Triple H reverses it. And I think, actually, no, I think Gilberg hits 2 spears in this match, which is insane. I think he ever hit an offensive move before that, but obviously, yeah, ends with a pedigree. But yeah, Gilberg, an unlikely #1 contender for the WWE Championship. And I think the most shocking person who's ever been challenging for the WWE Championship in history has to go to Stephanie McMahon, who was a part of a triple threat match. I think this is a couple of weeks after WrestleMania 18, and she ends up in a triple threat match against Chris Jericho and Triple H for the WWF Championship. Now, lots of things to talk about in this match. One, I am 99% sure Stephanie McMahon is the only woman to ever challenge for the WWE Championship. I'm pretty sure Chyna has never had a title shot, who I just think is the only other person who had it. There was a weird one which I was going to mention, Now, I don't know. For some reason, I think the Fabulous Moolah might have had a joke one against the Big Show. Don't know about that. I might be wrong with that. But I'm pretty sure Stephanie McMahon is the only woman to ever challenge for the WWE Championship. And she gets close, man. She's getting near falls. Like, there was a moment where, because it was the Undisputed Championship when they had the big gold belt and then the classic WWF Championship. Jericho and Triple H both knock each other out, and Stephanie McMahon is almost getting 2 counts. Stephanie McMahon's taking walls of Jericho, she's taking pedigrees. It's not like she's kind of absent in this match. She is very much competing for the WWE Championship, and it ends, I'm pretty sure it ends with like Triple H pedigreeing Stephanie. They were having some marital troubles there, folks, and retaining the Undisputed Championship. But yeah, I think we can all agree, Stephanie McMahon, the most shocking #1 contender for the WWE Championship. Guys, hope you enjoyed this top 10 video. We've not done one of these before. If you enjoyed it, we will do more. Do you agree with the list? I mean, it's not overly fixed, but you know, it's open for discussion. If you guys have got some suggestions for other people who could have been shocking #1 contenders, let us know in the comments, and maybe let us know some other top 10s you'd like to see if you enjoyed them. Drop a like again if you enjoyed it. I've been N60 Sean, guys. You are all excellent. See you next time.